Hey guys, welcome back. So this is the another program where we will try to understand some other concept, right? So let's say in interview you will get a questions. They will ask you questions like tell me the sum of two number in the given array whose sum is very close to 0. Okay. So if you look at, let's say you have this array, first focus on the solution part. So guys, one standard practice what you do whenever people will ask you questions, program questions in the interview, first try to figure out the solution by looking the output and then same thing you write in the code. So the question here is you need to find the sum whose sum is very close to 0. Okay. So tell me one thing, if I will go and if I will write here 0 comma minus 1 comma minus 4 comma minus 8 comma minus 9 comma minus 80. Okay, who is very close to 0? By looking this solution, what you will figure out? This is very close to 0. After that, this guy is very close to 0, right? You understood? Then this guy is very close to 0, right? Because these are the numbers are very close to 0. The moment you will go right in the right directions, you are moving ahead of 0, right? Because after, there is a point after minus 1 it can be 0 or there could be some fractions of number. But this is the pattern we have, right? So the moment we will move towards right hand side, we are going away from 0, right? Now you try to understand the program. You need to write a logic where the two sum is going to be near to 0. So how you will write that? So let me remove this first, okay, and then I will explain you with the logic. So let's see that this is the given array, right? So what you have to do, guys, you have to find out the sum and you need to compare the sum. So let's say if I will go with the first iterations, so assume that this is my first iterations. Okay, in first iterations what I have to do? I have to do 1 plus 60, right? Then I have to do 1 plus minus 10, right? Then I have to do 1 plus 66. I have to do 1 plus minus 70 because I have to find the sum, right? Then I have to do 1 plus 75. This is my first iterations, right? This is my first iterations. Now I will go for the second iterations. In second iterations, see, if you look at here, we have done sum of 1 with all the number, all 4 number, right? So we have done for the 1 basically what we did. If you look at, we have done with sum with this, we have done sum with this, we have done sum with this, then 1 also we have done with 70, and then 1 we have done with 75. So this is the one. In second iterations, what we will do now, 1 and 60 you focus here, this is already done, right? So there is no point of summing 60 and 1 again because the output remains same. So what you have to do, you have to sum other pair, 60 plus minus 10, then you do 60 plus 66, then you do 60 plus minus 70, then you do 60 plus 75. This is your second iterations, right? Then there need to be a third iterations. In the third iterations, if you look at, this guy is also done now. So you have done 160 and you have also done 60 and minus 10. So this is done, right? So 10 you should not again go and sum with 60. So you have to go in the forward direction. So you have to do minus 10 plus 66. You have to do minus 10 plus minus 70, and you have to do minus 10 plus 75. This is your third iterations. Then you will go for fourth iterations. So iterations number, let's say 4. In fourth iterations, you have done now 1066 also, right? So again 66 you don't need to sum with the 10. So what you will do, you will write 66 plus minus 70. Okay, and then also you will write 66 plus 75, right? And in the fifth iterations, what we will do, you will go ahead and you will, what you will write here, you will just write minus 70 plus 75. So guys, tell me one thing now, total how many iterations you have done? Okay, this was your first iterations, this was your second iterations, this was your third iterations, this is the fourth, and this is the fifth. So fifth iterations basically you have done, right? So if you look at, this is how many elements your array has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. When there is a 6 element in the array, you have done 5 iterations. Got it? Now one more thing you try to focus. When you have started with 1, right, when you have started with 1, how many times you have done summations? You have done basically 5 times here. When you started with 1, when you started with 60, how many times you have done summation? You have done 4 times, right? You have done 4 times. When you have started with 66, you have done 3 times, then you have done 2 times, and then you have done 1 time. So always in the interview, first break down problem like this, then you will come to know what logic you should write. Otherwise, whole life you have to remember the program. So now you have, so what basically I'm trying to convey, if you look at here, every number we are summing with the next number, every number we are summing with, ideally, right? So when we do summations 1 with 60, okay, 1 also we have done with minus 10. When we came for the 60, since 1 plus 60 was already done here we skipped, right? So this sum, so actually every number is getting summed by the other number, right? So every number technically is getting summed by the other number. But when we are moving ahead with every loop, okay, every loop when we are moving ahead, your next element, right, is going to be sum with the remaining element after that element, right? So every time what is happening, let's say because it's an array, right? So to achieve that, what we have to do, one thing will come to your mind, you have to run a for loop, right? So you have to run one for loop. But the problem here is, if you run only one for loop, guys, right, if you will run only one for loop, you can achieve what? You can achieve only this section. If you will run only one for loop, you can achieve only first iterations. After that it will terminate, right? That's how the for loop functionality. It will start from 0, it will end till 75, and it will terminate. So one thing is clear, one loop will not solve here. Clear? Then we should use 2 loop. Okay, we should use 2 loop. So let's say your let's say I is the outer loop, right? I is the outer loop. So this will be controlled by the outer loop. Now what should be the inner loop, right? There should be 2 loop. One is the outer loop. So the outer loop will work on every element of the array. Okay, so if I have to write outer loop, let's say there is a for loop, this guy will work, I will write int I is equal to 0 till I less than is equal to size and I plus plus. So this guy will run on every element of the array. Now how you will get this data? See, first for loop will run on every element. Then how did you get this data, right? You need to get this data also. Now you need to get this data also. So now think like this. Let's say here I was 0, it ran for this. I became 1, it ran for this. I became 2, it ran for this. I became 3, it ran for this, right? So this work is done by the outer for loop. Now there should be another for loop. There should be, let's say there should be one inner for loop. Inside the for loop, that guy will make sure that which number to be summed. So here when you say int j, right, this guy should actually depends on, what, this should depend on I plus 1. Okay, and this should run, j should also run till the array and j plus plus. You got it? Why this should run I plus 1? Because if you look at when your I was 0, okay, when I was 0, basically you are summing the I with the next number, right? So this is your j. For the first one, these are the j, right? Now when you are on the 60, what is the j? So when you are actually on the 60, this is the j part. Then when you are on the 10, right, this is the j part. When you are on the 66, this is the j part. When you are 70, this 75 is the j part. You understood now carefully, right? Which means every time your j should be ahead of I. That is the reason I am doing that I plus 1. Clear for you, right? Now you try to write same thing in the code. Whatever I have explained you, now try to write a code. So we have to do the, guys, now understand. We have to find out the index whose sum is very close to 0. So when we do a sum, how many data we sum basically? We sum 2 data. In any summations, there will be 2 data, right? Without 2 data, you cannot sum, which means you need 2 variable, first element, second element. Now you have to find the lowest sum which is very close to 0. So there is a variable called lowest sum, right? And for time being, this sum you try to understand, there is another variable called sum. I will tell you why this is, okay? Forget about this I am putting a check. This you should precautionary measure. If less than 2, then you say that invalid input, because when your data itself there is no 2 data, what you will sum basically, right? Now look at here. In beginning I am saying that my first element is the 0 and my second element is the 1. In beginning I am saying that because I am just writing this constant, okay, and I am saying that in the beginning the lowest sum is equal to array of I plus array of j. So this is just an assumption. I am assuming that, okay, like my lowest sum is going to be 0 and 1, which is nothing but 1 and 60, which is nothing but 70. Okay, now come with the logic. This is your outer for loop. Whatever I have explained you, this is your outer for loop. So this for loop will make sure that every element 160, 10, 66 minus 70 minus 75 will get summed with the other numbers. Okay, so this is your outer for loop. Now this is the inner for loop, whereas your inner for loop, this guy will make sure that when you have I is equal to 0, this I0 should get summed with the other numbers. Okay, it should get summed with the 60 minus 10, 66, right? When I is equal to 1, which means when I becomes 60, then j will be the I plus 1. So j will get summed with another minus 10, 66, 70 and 75. You got it? So every time, what I am doing that here is, when I am running a loop, I am finding the sum. So whatever I have explained you guys, right? First iteration, second, third, fourth and fifth, I am doing that the actual sum, and there is a if conditions. So you might be wondering what is if condition, math.abs. So this is the function in the math class which will give you the absolute number. Okay, so whenever you will find a sum basically, so let's say this will come, let's say negative number -4. So when you do math.abs, that is going to be the absolute number. So you will get 4, you will not get -4. Okay, because I have to compare it. So I am doing that absolute number of this lowest sum which we have considered earlier. This we have considered earlier. We assume that this is going to be the lowest. So again I found the sum, okay, and I will check if the lowest sum is actually greater than this number. Okay, the sum which we did. If this is the case, if this guy is greater, right, this guy is greater, which means there is another pair which sum is lower than this, right? This is another, there is another pair which sum is lower than this. So I am exchanging it. I am saying that my lower sum is this. Now I am changing the lower sum here. Okay, I am saying that there is another pair whose sum is different. So I am exchanging it, and when I am exchanging it, I need to at the end of day I need to return the index whose sum is very close to 0. So I am storing the I and j also, right? Now this loop will continue. This loop will continue, and every time when it will go inside the if block, your lower sum will get replaced with the sum, right, when this, if this conditions is fulfilled, right. So here why I wrote actually math.abs, because you cannot compare negative and positive, right. So you need to convert to absolute number and then compare it. Okay, the negative positive whatever we have, that you will get the expected output, but this is just for the comparison. Okay, here your sum will be negative, so when you compare it, you are comparing with the absolute data. When you are comparing with the absolute data, if it is a smaller, it will go inside. Okay, so when actually if you will sum this all iterations, after doing all the iterations, what you will come to know, answer is there is a pair, which is, if manually you have to go and see that, it's very simple. You can say that there is a pair called 66 plus minus 70 is equal to minus 4. So in this array, this is the pair which is very close to 0. You try to check that there is no other pair when you will do the sum which is close to 0 than this. Okay, this pair is very close to 0, right. You understood the program, you understood the concept. I believe that you understood. If not, please watch this video again. Now let me show you in the Eclipse how this works. So the same thing I have written in the Eclipse. So just for our understanding, what I will do, I will put some print here so that you can understand. I am going to print sum space plus sum, which will print the sum, and then let us print the actual data, right. So this is the actual data where we are summing it, right. So let's keep some gap, and here you just print like this. Okay, so this guy will tell you what number you are summing it, and the same thing you go inside that and then print the lowest sum. That also we should know, right, like what is the lowest sum, and the lowest sum here will change, right. Whenever it will go inside, it will change, and then we don't need this here. Okay, right, you got it. The same program I have added the print statement so that we can understand. Now what is the input, guys? The input which I have explained you, this is the input. Now let's run this, and before running, okay, what I will do, I'll write one more thing here. ITE or iteration number is equal to plus I. Okay, that will tell us what is the iterations number. Okay, so let's run that. Yeah, let's try to understand. When iteration number 0 started, okay, okay, one more thing, guys. So here let's prove add some space, otherwise what will happen is it will considered as the one input. When you don't put the space, it will consider as a one input, because I need to know that ij. Now understand, now it's very clear. So look at that, we did sum of 160 which came 60, then we did sum of 1 plus 10 which came minus 9. So in these two, lowest is minus 9. Okay, then we did a sum, and when we did a sum, there is no data which is lower than minus 9. Though we are doing that absolute number, there is no data which is lower than minus 9. Then second iteration started. In the second iterations, what happens? There is no data. You can see that, right? 60 minus 10, whatever I have told you, right? 66. So if you actually let me minimize this. So let's drag it down a little bit. Yeah, so this is your array, guys, right? And now you can correlate nicely in second iterations. These iterations focus here. What is happening? 60, you are doing that with minus 10. We did a sum, you got all the sum, but there is no data which is lower than what is you have already, the lowest sum, right? Because if that is the case, it will go inside, so there is no data. And even though we can see that in the second iteration there is no data. Now the third iteration started. In the third iteration there is no data, which is lowest than -9. Then we went ahead and in this fourth iterations, basically, because I have started from 0, so this is fourth. In the fourth iterations, when we did 66 plus 70, it came -4. When you compare it, the 9 and 4, of course 4 is the lowest one, so your lowest one will change to -4. Earlier the lowest one was -9, which was very close to 0, so this guy changed to -4. Okay, then again there is a last pair. The last pair is -70 plus 25, which is nothing but 5. Okay, even this guy 5 is not very I mean, this is the positive number, this is -4, which is very close to 0. Okay, and this 5 is actually greater than 0. Okay, this is not close to 0. We have to find out close to 0, guys, understand that. Okay, you need to find out close to 0. So I am printing that these two elements which sum is minimum are 66 and -70, right? From where this is getting printed, because we have a print statement here, right? And that's where these two elements helped us. These two elements helped us to print the data, the first element and the second element. So you understood how you should approach this, program, and how you should attack it. So in interview, always first write the input, try to figure out what is the pattern, and then write the logic. Thank you guys, thank you for watching this. If you like this video, hit like button and subscribe.